Well, as Sharonda said, I'm a volunteer and we're rebuilding houses like the one here on the corner. And basically, we're not just rebuilding them, we're restoring them to the original condition 100 years ago. And so it's quite a job because there's been a lot of water intrusion in these houses and a lot of rot. So we've had to replace a lot of the boards in the house. But because these are on the National Historic Record, you just can't go to the lumber yard and get lumber.
Correct.
We have to find 100-year-old lumber to replace what's rotted. And so that's what we've been doing. And you can see this magnificent home on the corner. Its true character is coming out again after being gone for decades.
Yes.
And so I'm just really grateful we have enough volunteers to do the work. And we barely have enough money to do the work. It's a very expensive job. And so what we want to do is we need to get more money so that we can buy materials. And also we can't do some of the subcontracting work, like putting in the electrical and the heating, air conditioning. Those are trades that we have to buy from other people, but it's very expensive. So anything your audience can do to raise money for not only for Yates Museum, which I'm representing now, but also the Freedmenstown Association. That group also is doing a wonderful job with respect to supporting families in really big need. They need low income housing as a bridge to get started in their lives. And Freedmenstown, I guess, Freedmen's Association has 7 apartments, and they're very, very low income to people to get started. But they also need help to restore their houses. A couple of them back in the condition they were 100 years ago. So they will be part of the historic Freedmenstown. We'll have not only the churches, we'll have Yates Museum, but we'll also have, very importantly, the Freedmenstown Association low income housing. All that's part of one attraction for people to come to see how people lived and did very well 100 years ago here in Freedmenstown. Yes, it is. It's all donation money, essentially no government money. It's individuals and foundations. And I guess we have a few wealthy people that are helping, but it's a lot of small donations that are adding up to make all this happen. And you'd have to see what these houses look like before to really appreciate the transformation that's going on here. We're sitting right at what I call the epicenter of Freedmenstown. This is where the brick roads come together. And where they come together, we have not only preserved the houses, but we preserved the brick streets. These are famous streets because Black people, when they first inhabited this area, they had to do everything themselves. They had to build their churches, their schools, but also the roads. And they even made these bricks that are here. And so people before me have spent a lot of time and energy trying to preserve these brick streets. So that's why we're especially working right here in this area. It's a very important part of Freedmenstown between the churches and the association and Yates Museum. Our team, our volunteer carpenter team, has been on this for 2 years. And so we're standing close to the J. Vance Lewis house. And that's the one we're mostly working on now. But down the street is what I call the Nixon house. And we spent better part of a year with that house, basically rebuilding it from the foundation up. But again, with original materials, so these houses stay on the National Historic Record. What our goal is here is to have this to be a showpiece for what particularly Black people contributed to the Houston community 100 years ago and since then. They've contributed immensely to our city, and that's what we want to showcase, but not only for Black people, but for white people, so that we better understand our history and better appreciate it. So we all feel better, not just white people, but Black people feel better about this really wonderful heritage that we have.